We are counting down 10 anime rivalries that did not just compete with their main stories, they overtook them. From lighthearted competitions between childhood friends to devastating feuds forged in betrayal, obsession, and shattered brotherhood, every entry on this list produced the scenes fans remember long after the broader plot fades. Some thrive on mutual respect, others burn through grief, guilt, and ideological warfare. But only one rivalry consumed its series so completely that an entire franchise feels like it orbits around a single broken bond. Which feud claimed that top spot? Let's find out, starting at number 10. In the 10th place, the rivalry between Yuno and Asta sets the tone for classic shonen competition. Both boys, abandoned as infants and raised side by side in Hage Village's orphanage, forge a bond that is equal parts brotherhood and rivalry. Their shared dream is clear from the start: to become the Wizard King, the kingdom's greatest mage. But the path each chooses could not be more different. Asta's relentless, loud determination clashes against Yuno's quiet, natural talent, turning every Magic Knight's exam and every new power-up into a scorecard for who is pulling ahead. The series uses this mirror structure to keep the stakes personal. Every gain by one is a challenge to the other. Yet, unlike so many anime rivalries fueled by resentment, the emotional payoff here is built on respect. Each success is a reason to push harder, not tear each other down. The ultimate duel for the Wizard King title never arrives, but the rivalry's real strength lies in how it motivates both characters and the audience to keep striving, arc after arc. Number 9. Gon and Hisoka's rivalry in Hunter x Hunter is a slow-burning fuse that refuses to die out, no matter how the main story shifts. From their first encounter during the Hunter exam, Hisoka's gaze lands on Gon not as an adversary to crush, but as a seed worth nurturing until it's ripe for a true fight. This is not a rivalry of equals, it's a cat-and-mouse game, where the mouse knows it's being watched by a predator who is both fascinated and patient. Heaven's Arena crystallizes this dynamic. Gon, desperate to prove himself, pushes forward under the constant threat of Hisoka's attention, sharpening his resolve with every step. What makes this feud unforgettable isn't a parade of back-to-back battles, but the chilling promise that the next encounter will always be more dangerous than the last. Gon grows, but Hisoka's shadow grows with him. Never fully in the spotlight, but impossible to ignore. The tension is electric, the anticipation sometimes more gripping than any actual fight. It's this eerie, ever-present sense of danger that keeps fans hooked long after the series moves on to other threats. Number 8. Deku and Bakugo's rivalry in My Hero Academia begins long before the first day at UA. It starts with a childhood marked by Bakugo's taunts and Deku's silent endurance. This isn't just a schoolyard feud, it's a personal history that follows both boys into the Hero Academy, where every test and every public challenge turns private wounds into public spectacle. Bakugo's early aggression makes the rivalry sting, but the real power comes from how the story refuses to let their dynamic stay the same. Each major confrontation, whether it's the explosive first training match, the rooftop confessions after All Might's fall, or the raw honesty of their second fight, forces both to question their own pride, resentment, and what it means to be a hero. Deku's determination to prove himself collides with Bakugo's fear of being surpassed, driving both to mature in ways the main hero versus villain plot never quite achieves. For many fans, the emotional core of My Hero Academia isn't the fate of the world or the rise of evil, but the ongoing struggle between these two, who push each other further than any enemy ever could. Number 7. Thorfinn and Askeladd's rivalry in Vinland Saga is a descent into darkness that reshapes the very heart of the story. Their feud begins not with a handshake or a childhood promise, but with the violent death of Thorfinn's father at Askeladd's hands, a moment that crushes innocence and sets a boy adrift in a world ruled by blood and cunning. Thorfinn's obsession with vengeance drives him to join the very band of mercenaries led by his enemy, demanding duel after duel, only to be outmatched and humiliated time and again. Each defeat is a lesson, each victory for Askeladd a new scar for Thorfinn, turning the chase for vengeance into a twisted apprenticeship. Askeladd becomes more than a target. He is a mentor who shapes Thorfinn's skills, even as he remains the object of Thorfinn's hatred. The rivalry's true power emerges in its final act. When Askeladd is killed by the machinations of kings and princes, Thorfinn is robbed of his purpose in a single stroke. The story doesn't end with a satisfying duel, but with Thorfinn left empty, forced to confront a future without the enemy who defined his existence. In that moment, the rivalry doesn't just overshadow the main plot, it transforms the story, turning a tale of vengeance into a search for meaning after the sword is finally lowered. Number 6. Gojo and Geto's rivalry in Jujutsu Kaisen stands apart for its sheer emotional gravity. Their story begins not in battle, but in the quiet halls of Tokyo Jujutsu High, where friendship and trust were once stronger than any curse. Together, they were the Academy's brightest, Gojo, the prodigy with limitless power, and Geto, the thoughtful idealist. But everything changes during the Star Plasma Vessel mission. The loss of Riko Amanai and the brutal lesson delivered by Toji Fushiguro cracks their worldview wide open. Gojo awakens new abilities in the face of tragedy, while Geto's faith in their purpose shatters. The split is not about strength, but about what it means to be a sorcerer in a world that fears them. Years later, every clash between them is haunted by memories of what they shared. When Geto is expelled after turning his back on humanity, the sense of loss lingers in every confrontation, especially in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, where their battle feels as much like a farewell as a fight. Even the Shibuya incident, with its high-stakes sorcery and shocking reveals, is shaped by the echo of their broken bond. Fans remember the friendship first, the tragedy second, and the battles last. In a series filled with monstrous curses and world-ending threats, it's the pain of losing a friend to ideology and grief that leaves the deepest scar. The rivalry's greatest power is its sense of mourning. Every encounter is a reminder of what might have been, and that ache often overshadows the chaos swirling around them. Number 5. Lelouch and Suzaku's rivalry in Code Geass is a collision of friendship and ideology that slices through the heart of the series. What begins as a bond between two schoolmates quickly transforms into a war of masks and motives, with Lelouch donning the persona of Zero to dismantle an empire, and Suzaku swearing allegiance to that same regime as its White Knight. Each believes he is saving the world, but their visions are irreconcilable, one fighting for revolution, the other for reform from within. Their confrontations, played out in the cockpits of nightmare frames and across the chessboard of global politics, become the true spine of the story. Every battle is more than a clash of mechs. It's a test of conviction, sacrifice, and loyalty. The emotional stakes climb with every twist. As Lelouch's rebellion grows bloodier, Suzaku's desperation to stop him only deepens. By the time they reach the Zero Requiem, the series itself seems to revolve around their final reckoning, two friends forced to become enemies, each carrying the burden of a world that refuses to be saved by half measures. The greatest moments of Code Geass are not found in its sweeping battles or political intrigue, but in the relentless question of which ideal and which mask will survive when the last move is played. Number 4. The clash between Eren Yeager and Reiner Braun in Attack on Titan never settles into a single narrative, instead shifting shape with every phase of the war. Their rivalry detonates with the revelation that Reiner, once a trusted comrade, is the armored titan who shattered Eren's world. The shock of that betrayal isn't just a twist, it's a wound that never fully heals, coloring every encounter that follows. Later, as the battlefield moves to Marley, the roles invert. Eren becomes the invader, Reiner the desperate defender, and the lines between hero and villain blur beyond recognition. Each confrontation is loaded not just with violence, but with confession, guilt, and a desperate search for meaning in a world that has made monsters of them both. When Eren and Reiner meet again, the dialogue cuts deeper than any blade. Their battles are less about victory and more about survival under the crushing weight of their shared trauma. The war outside the walls becomes a mirror for the war inside each of them. Eren's rage is no longer simple vengeance, and Reiner's strength is laced with exhaustion and regret. Every reunion changes what the conflict means, making the larger war feel intensely personal.
For fans, these moments, whether it's the rooftop confessions or the final brutal Titan battles, carry an emotional force that overshadows the fate of nations. Eren and Reiner become avatars for the cycle of pain and revenge, their rivalry turning the chaos of Attack on Titan into a story about two men shaped and broken by the world, each proof of what the other has lost.
Coming to the top 3, Goku and Vegeta's rivalry stands as the blueprint for shonen escalation, a contest of pride and power that never truly ends. Their first battle during the Saiyan saga is more than a clash of fists. It's a collision of worlds. Goku, the earth-raised warrior with a boundless appetite for challenge, faces Vegeta, the Saiyan prince whose pride will not allow him to lose to a low-class clown. That first fight lays the groundwork. Every blow is a statement. Every transformation a new chapter in their unspoken scoreboard. But the rivalry refuses to stay static. Vegeta's evolution from villain to reluctant ally transforms the dynamic, turning every new saga into another round of their endless duel. The Majin Vegeta arc is the emotional peak. Vegeta, consumed by his need to surpass Goku, willingly gives up his soul for a shot at victory. Their battle is not about saving the world. It is about settling a score that only matters to them. The pain, the pride, the desperate need for acknowledgement, all of it spills out in a fight that fans revisit again and again. Even as Dragon Ball's universe expands, the story itself becomes a stage for their rivalry to play out. New forms, new threats, even new gods. None of it matters as much as who stands taller at the end of each arc. For decades, fans have debated who is truly stronger, who has grown more, who will finally pull ahead. In the end, it's the rivalry that keeps the Dragon Ball legacy alive, fueling every comeback, every transformation, and every unforgettable moment where neither man is willing to let the other claim the final victory. In second place, the battle of wits between L and Light in Death Note transforms a supernatural thriller into a relentless psychological chess match. From the moment Light Yagami realizes that someone as brilliant as himself is tracking him, the series pivots away from the broader question of justice and punishment, zeroing in on a duel where every move is a calculated risk. Their first face-to-face encounter in Light's classroom is more than an introduction. It is the ignition of a cat-and-mouse game, where suspicion and intellect become deadlier than any weapon. Each episode builds on this tension, with L and Light treating each other as the only adversary worth outsmarting. Every ingenious trap, every coded message, every subtle glance is a challenge issued and answered, making the series addictive for viewers who crave the thrill of a perfectly executed mind game. The rivalry's power is most evident in the aftermath of L's death. Episode 25. Silence does not just mark the end of a character, it splits the entire narrative in half. The loss of L is a rupture so profound that many fans feel the show never fully recovers its original pressure or intrigue. The remaining story, while ambitious, lacks the electric charge of two geniuses locked in a battle where the stakes are nothing less than the soul of the world. Voice actors Mamoru Miyano and Kappei Yamaguchi bring a cold, calculating tension to every exchange, amplifying the rivalry's intensity. For many, the true legacy of Death Note is not the supernatural notebook or its moral questions, but the unforgettable duel between L and Light, a rivalry so fierce it overshadows the series itself, leaving a mark that lingers long after the final page is turned. And finally, in first place, Naruto and Sasuke's rivalry forms the very heartbeat of an entire generation of anime. What begins as a simple contest between two orphans at the Ninja Academy soon deepens into something far more profound, a friendship so fierce that its collapse shakes the whole world of shinobi. The Valley of the End stands as their symbolic crossroads, a place where childhood dreams are torn apart by betrayal and where the pain of losing a friend cuts deeper than any blade. Each time their paths cross, competition turns to obsession. Naruto's refusal to give up on Sasuke becomes a lifeline, while Sasuke's quest for vengeance pulls him further into darkness. The series' greatest spectacles, the Chunin exams, the rooftop duel, the Fourth Shinobi War, always circle back to these two, as if the fate of every village, every prophecy, is just a backdrop for their unfinished business. Their final battle at the Valley of the End, animated with a raw intensity that stunned even longtime fans, is more than a clash of jutsu. It is a reckoning over the meaning of bonds, forgiveness, and identity. When both boys collapse, battered and bloodied, the answer is not who is stronger, but whether their connection can survive everything that has been broken. Masashi Kishimoto, the creator himself, has said the story was always about this bond, no matter how many gods, wars, or prophecies entered the frame. The franchise's most celebrated moments, from iconic anime music videos to trending hashtags and endless cosplay duos, all trace back to the image of Naruto reaching for Sasuke's hand. In the end, it is not the fate of the ninja world that keeps fans coming back, but the hope that these two can find their way back to each other. No other rivalry so completely transforms a sprawling epic into a deeply personal story of loss, redemption, and the unbreakable promise of friendship. Across all 10 rivalries, one truth stands out. When two characters collide, their emotional conflict becomes the heartbeat of the entire story. These feuds outshine main plots because they tap into our hunger for connection, betrayal, and redemption. In anime, it is not the world-ending stakes, it is the personal grudge matches that carve scenes into memory. Rivalry is not just a tool, it is the soul of the genre. Which clash claimed your loyalty?